All right, welcome to Database Development Design course. For this is my series set for my RBCC course here. In this, we're going to be doing an introduction to SQL Server. If you're part of my course at the school, you should be able to go to your Citrix. There's another video link for that. I'll put that in the links below. If you're not and you've downloaded SQL Server by yourself because it's free, you can get a developer model. That's what I'll be working. I'll be working on a local version myself, so you can just follow along if you're just watching the video and not part of my class. All right, so I'm going to send you a link to my website here, Analytics for All, and under free courses, you can click here and you go down to this and look for the files for database development design labs. Right now, for this case, I only got the first three set up, so you can download these. You'll see as the classes go on. So we just want to make sure you download these three files somewhere and you've got them saved. All right, you should have three files, a text file, a CSV, and an Excel file. Okay, we'll be working with those in a minute. Let's go ahead and we're going to bring up our SQL Server. So I opened it up. This is SQL Server Management Studio again. So a second, let me adjust the screen so we can get to it. Okay, so in this instance, I'm running a local, so I'm going to go connect and open up here. And this will come here. You notice I've got this is your local. If you're using localhost, you could literally just type in the plus sign here. Shouldn't need any Windows authentication. If you're doing the one through Citrix, you're going to need that link in the, you'll find in Canvas. Hit connect, and your database will come to life. I'm just going to kind of walk you through a bit of this system here. So this is not SQL Server. This is the management studio that sits on top. So this is kind of like an IDE for your programmers out there. Most important things to look at here. Number one, these are your databases. You may not have any, or if you're using my class, you'll have to find the one that matches your G number. We're going to build one right now. If not, for people in the class, you'll have to use the G number. I'm not going to worry about the rest of this stuff down here yet. We'll get into that later in the class. Here's the file system. You can open, save files, bring in, folders, that kind of stuff. Edit. This is where you find your view and replace. Most important things we'll work on now. Let's go ahead and we have a new query window. So we're going to go into there. And this, when it opens, this is the window that allows you to write a SQL query, okay, which is the main function we're going to do here. Notice the first thing here, though. You notice this up here, it says master. That's a problem. So you want to make sure you're using your database. So what we're going to do is we're just going to create a database, okay, for right now. So we're just going to say create database, and we'll call this whatever we want. I'm going to call this database development design course. It's my DDD. I'll call that one. And then semicolon. You can use Go if you want instead. That's a very Windows thing, but a lot of people don't use it, so I just keep with the semicolon. And you just go ahead and you hit execute. And you should get results that say completed successfully. You're not going to see anything happen. In fact, you won't even see anything in the databases. Probably what you'll probably have to do is go here, right click and refresh. And there you go. Now you're going to see DDD. Okay, and if you open up DDD, you're going to see you have no tables or nothing in there. That was a mistake. I clicked on that. So we'll go ahead and note there's tables here. So we won't see any in here. So we're going to create some. So the first thing we want to do is make sure we're using the database we just created. So what I'm going to do is get rid of this line, and I'm going to say use DDD, enter, and hit that. And then now look, now my thing here changed to DDD. You could also just type it in. I just find a good habit to always put this on top of your files when you're doing it. All right, now if you go back and we look at our sports stats text file we built here, this is going to be some information. We're going to open this up in Notepad, edit Notepad. Okay. Sorry, computer's taking its time. Let me move this around here so I can see it. Here we go. Here's our Notepad. Do not worry about what this code means right now. We're just going to copy this and we're going to place it here. And we've got now this is basically the code designed to build a table. I'm just going to walk you through real quick. I would not be too concerned about any of the code yet. Trust me, you'll become an expert on SQL code by the time we're done here. So the main thing to notice here is I've got an if statement in here. I said if object sports stats exist, is not null. That means it exists. Then I want you to drop the table. Great part about this means is that you can run this code over and over and over again and it won't cause any problems. So right here, I'm just saying create table. I'm naming it sports stats. I've got a player ID, which is an integer. We'll get into all this. Player names varchar. This is varchar is our name for string. Team's a string. Integer, and char is just a single character. And then in here, down here is my insert statement where I'm going to insert into sports stats, and each one of these will be one of my rows. So you'll see they do a line here. So we got player ID 1, name, Frank, team, So all these things do line up, all right? So we're just going to sit here, and if you come right here, you should be able to go right up top and just, 1 second, get so you can see again here. You should be able to go right up top, hit execute, and you should see something like 16 rows affected, successful. If you got any errors, make sure that you've copied the entire file over and you're not sitting in master, because sometimes people don't copy over to this part, it breaks. So just make sure you got everything copied over and that should load. And then you should be able to go into here in your tables, and you might have to right click and refresh again, but you'll see sports stats. Okay, so what we can do now is go up here, go to new query window. We should already stay in our DDD. I mean, it should stay there. If not, you can just sit there and say use DDD again just to make sure. And then we're just going to say select star from sports stats. Okay. And when you do this and you say execute, you should be able to see all your results here. Okay. I'm going to bring this up so you can see them, but there we go. We've got all our records we just put in there. So this is, we've made a table now. We've made a table and we've populated it. All right. So that's the main message we're trying to get across. That's one way to make a table. Now we're going to look at, I also downloaded this information in a CSV and an Excel file. These are other ways you can get a table to load within SQL Server. So we're going to go there first. We're going to go to our file. We're going to go, actually, I'm sorry, not file. We're going to go to our database, and you're going to right click on your database and you're going to go to tasks. Okay. And of course, the one I want is out of view, so I'm going to readjust my screen real quick for you guys. Second. Sorry about this. It's just kind of the way this system works. But we go to our table. We right click. We go down to tasks, which was, where did I just see that? Oh, sorry. Go to our database. Go to tasks. Go down here. We're going to say import data. Okay. Importing data. This is what we use when we want to import Excel files and other stuff, but Excel is the most common use I have for this. And this wizard, I'll bring the wizard over. This wizard's going to pop up. And so what we're going to do is going to export our Excel file. I want you to note my Excel file that I gave you guys, if you look closely, is an XLS. And the reason is because if you want to do XLXS, you have to download some additional stuff for the additional jet engine stuff, which you can do, and you can find the documentation. It's not that hard, but I just didn't want you to make anything overly confusing here. So when this comes up, sorry, mine was running a little slow. We're going to go down here and we're going to download an Excel file, Microsoft Excel. Okay, that's what we're saying. I'm going to pick our file path. This is just as simple. I'm going to go to my, just get a file browser. It comes up. I have my stuff in my desktop under a file called, where did I put it? Actually, I have mine in my, sorry, that's my other computer. I have mine in my downloads. Okay. And that's my sports stats right here. Okay, and there it is. And we click on that. And you notice it says Microsoft Excel. Trust me, if you have a newer one, it's going to cause problems. Click on this if your first row has column names, which mine does. We go to next. We're going to say where to go. Go to the bottom where it says your SQL Server native client. Yours may say 12 or something else. This is kind of an older install. I just say use Windows authentication because that's how we logged in. And you notice my server name's up here too. It's a dot because I'm on the local host, but you might have to have a server name in there. I'm just going to click copy data from one more tables. I won't worry about the writing query. And here you can rename your table. I'm going to call mine sports stats 2 just to not cause any trouble. This DBO thing, don't worry about that now. We'll get into it, that .dbo. Do not worry about it. You can hit a preview button here. It'll show you what you got coming in. You can edit mappings, which will allow you to change the data types, which I'm not going to do here. And then you can just hit next, run immediately. We don't need to save this as an SSIS package. And then you hit finish. And it should, if everything goes well, scroll down, you'll get a nice success, 16 rows transferred. You know you're good. Okay, so now we have, if you go back to our databases, we now have 2 tables, one called Sports Stats and one called Sports Stats 2. You can get rid of the quotes. I'm sorry I messed that up. You can go down here and just rename. It makes it easy. And just, so I just rename, and just from here I'll just delete that and delete it again. Okay, now for the last one we're going to do, now we'll get the CSV file, the flat file. So you can go here, again, tasks, import flat file. So now we're going to say yes. You can click don't show this again if you want that to come back. Specify your input type. So we browse. Go to my downloads. And I got Sports Stats CSV. I'm going to open that. Notice it could also open a text file. Schema, leave it alone. We'll get into schemas later. Don't worry about that. And name the table. I'm going to name this one 3 because this is off my CSV, so I don't end up having 2 tables named. SQL is very generous, but it can be, actually make sure, just my screen was off here, so make sure you saw everything. So I browsed, named the table, don't worry about the schema. SQL is very generous, but SQL does not like, you can't have the 2 tables named the same, okay. Rich, I always click on this to use rich type detection. This gives you a sample of your data. Don't worry about primary keys, any of this right now. I'll leave it alone. They're using tiny ints. Again, just everything for now, just leave everything alone. Hit finish, and we should go insert data was a success. So we should be able to go here now, refresh, and look at our tables, and we should have a 3 now. And if I go to this number 3 and I right click on it and say select top 1,000 rows, here we are, we're looking at our Sports Stats 3, and there is our data. All right, that's it for today. That's kind of our walkthrough for SQL Server. We're going to get much more into it later, but I kind of wanted to introduce it to you, and we'll move on from here.